Welcome to Reno and the National Bowling Stadium for the continuation of the U.S. Women's Open Bowling Championships. Hi, I'm Christine Brennan. 16 of the best women bowlers in the world started, and already 2 have advanced to the finals, with 1 more to advance today. In the first bracket, the veteran Carolyn Dorin Ballard beat another veteran, Kim Terrell, in a great match. In the second bracket, Liz Johnson, another veteran, she's competed against the men. She won that bracket as well and moved on. And today, the third bracket, the question is, will experience pay off as it has in the first 2 brackets? We will meet these competitors now.
Let's welcome today's competitors. Our number 15 seed from Castle Rock, Colorado, a junior Team USA member in 2001. She was an All-American at Arizona State in 1999-2000, Amy Stolz. The number 10 seed from Newport, Minnesota, Team USA member since 2004. She was a member of the 2004 and 2005 NCAA Women's Champions at Nebraska, Burgoyne. The number 7 seed from Double Oak, Texas, the reigning U.S. Amateur Champion. She has been a member of Team USA a record 10 times, Lynda. Our number 2 seed is from Skaneateles, New York, a 12-time PWBA champion. She won the 2005 USBC Queens, Feldman. And now to call the action, we bring you 2 gentlemen who competed against each other for years on the PBA Tour, Hall of Famers Bo Burton and Marshall Holman.
Good afternoon, I'm Bo Burton, along with Hall of Famer Marshall Holman, and we're here for the third bracket round of 16 for the Women's U.S. Open 2007 version. And Marshall, we've already had 2 brackets under our belt of the round of 16, and there's a pattern developing of who wins these brackets.
There certainly has been, Bo. You know, Carolyn Dorin Ballard averaged over 239 in winning her bracket. Liz Johnson also, throwing the ball straight like Carolyn, was able to dominate her bracket and win that as well. Today, our actual dark horse is Amy Stolz, the 15 seed, but I like her line to the pocket. She's throwing it up and at him straight, and I think that'll hold her in good stead.
Some other good players. Feldman's on the show, a real power player, and they'll be playing the cheetah pattern today, which really favors the outside shot. You can see the pattern as it develops. Really a little dry area to the right of the center oil, and Marshall, this produces a pretty high-scoring condition once they start striking.
It does, you know, and in our earlier matches in practice there was a little bit of problem, but boy, when the lights came on, the girls were ready to go, and they really bowled great. So I look for higher scores. I look for the person who can stay out, throw the ball firm speed, not a lot of hook. That could be your winner.
All right, looking forward to your commentary, Marshall, and now we're ready for the action in the third bracket round of the round of 16. All right, we're in our third round bracket matches of 16, and up on the left-hand lane, as we have 2 matches at the same time, is a kind of a newcomer to the professional bowling. She's still in college, going to Nebraska, Amanda Burgoyne. First shot.
And she is a little bit of a firecracker too, but she puts a lot on the ball for a small gal.
Well, a wonderful opening shot from Amanda. And boy, if you want to see a nice smile, she's certainly got it.
And now right now, Michelle Feldman, she is the consummate power player in the women's game. And I think this condition is going to be tough for her.
Well, you're a power player, you should know, Marshall. Not if she hits there, pal.
That's the friendly spot for her because she's got all that power. The flush shots don't strike as well for her as those light hits.
Now coming up is Lynda Barnes. Barnes is the reigning U.S. amateur champion and the wife of one of bowling superstars, Chris Barnes. First shot.
Roll, carry.
Great shot by Barnes. Barnes and Burgoyne both start out with strikes, but I like Barnes. I like her experience, and I think she's the one to beat in this match.
Amy Stolz, kind of the unknown and definitely the underdog in these matches.
See that line she's playing, Bo? Very much like Carolyn Dorin Ballard and really a lot like Liz Johnson. She's the furthest right of any of our players, and of the 4 people bowling today, that's the best place to be throwing the ball from.
And Johnson and Ballard were our first 2 round bracket winners and will be in the final 4 on October 14th. Now, Lynda Barnes.
going for an early double and leaving the 2 and the 10.
Lynda's faced adversity before, but Marshall, this ball just slides too far.
Yeah, he never picked up the roll early enough.
And it's kind of a split you would go to for as we watch Stolz go for a double. And the one pin that seems to stop everybody on these championship pair is the 10 pin, even when they're bowling well.
Right. Barnes needs to get the ball left of the 2 pin, slide the 2 into the 10. Certainly a makeable split. Let's take another look at that, Bo. I'm telling you, what a great spare. She gets the ball exactly where she needs it. Left of that 2 pin, right into the 10 pin. And that keeps the momentum going for her.
Good call as Stolz makes the spare, and she looks very comfortable out there for her first time on national television, Marsh.
Yeah, she's looking calm. You know, a good reaction always made me a lot more easygoing and calm.
Young lady goes to Nebraska. Amanda is coached by Bill Straub. She has one more semester of eligibility.
It's got to slide. All right, just the 9 pin. She puts a lot on the ball, and the ball really makes a strong, violent move in the back ends, even probably more than the way Michelle is playing the lanes right now.
I agree. Michelle has flattened it out as she comes up in the second frame.
I'll tell you what, if I was a bowling pin and that was coming at me, I would fall down.
She averaged 212 in the 32 games of qualifying and definitely is a very confident player, and she gets striking and she's almost unstoppable. Now Amanda for the spare.
A good controlled spare.
Feldman up on the left-hand lane, third frame, perfect through 2, has a 10-pin lead over Stolz.
Fortunate just to leave the 2 and the 8. Very much like the shot that Lynda Barnes threw a couple of frames ago, where she left the 210, hitting the same spot. Still a difficult spare, but much easier than a split.
Well, you're right, Marshall. This extreme outside line favors the down and in or lesser hook player because they don't get too far down the lane before the ball hooks. Now Amanda, who's bowled 2 nice frames, match is all even.
Boy, you know, that left lane, there might be a little bit of carry down because both Amanda and Lynda have left the 2-10 combination. Now Amanda's got the 2-8-10, almost impossible to make.
Good shot by Michelle Feldman, 31 years old, from Skaneateles, New York, and a very confident player with 12 PWBA titles. Now it's just Amanda should just go for 2, shouldn't she, Marsh, right here?
Yeah, there's really virtually no way to make this. I mean, it could bounce out, but that's the right thing.
Amy Stolz up on the right-hand lane, All-American at Arizona State in 1999 and 2000, and the MVP of the 2000 Intercollegiate Bowling Championships.
She's starting right at the edge. Look at that smooth arc into the pins. We'll take a look at a replay, and look where she sets this ball down, Bo. About 2 or 3. Nice, smooth, arcing ball into the pocket.
39 boards on a bowling lane. A bowling lane is 42 inches wide. Each board, 1 inch and 5/30 seconds.
Try and get a messenger back. Just the 10 pin.
Lynda, the 1998 Queens champion, and obviously has a great coach in her husband, Chris Barnes. Now Stolz to take the lead.
Got to move. Oh, what a terrible break. 5 pin goes in front of the 7.
Saw ball there, Marshall.
Yeah.
That was your best hit, and kind of unfortunate it did shoot in front of the 7 pin, but an easy spare as Lynda Barnes comes up here and tries to mark here and can maintain her lead of 13 pins.
Well, a great spare shooter. Certainly has a lot of. She's a very confident player. She's been bowling for quite a few years. Most Team USA years of anyone. Look out. Whoa, that's why they use a spare ball, Bo, because those balls don't hook.
I agree. Marshall and I kind of disagree a little bit on whether you change balls or use a spare ball. I always felt that the ball that you're using is more comfortable and you can flatten it out or even throw a little cutter, but the jury's out on that as we watch Lynda Barnes.
That'll get up there. And a little approval from husband Chris, who he can throw the ball a little, huh?
Yeah, one of the best in the world today. Now Michelle Feldman, let's see how she bounces back here.
Light last time, not this time. Boy, she's looking strong right now. And you know, Bo, I went on the limb and I picked Stolz, and I'm going to stay by that right now. You can see that 18 miles an hour is the speed for Feldman, our CAT system.
And the winning speed at professional bowling level for the people usually is between 7 and 19, so she's right at the median speed, and that lets the ball set up in the pocket real well. Now Amanda up here trying to bounce back after an open frame.
Hold on. Boy, that big hook, it just can be so problematic. You know, I watch the way Amanda bowls, and I can see myself out there struggling on this type of pattern because I like to energize the ball. I like to hook the ball in the back end, and it just doesn't set up well for that kind of style.
I agree. Now I'm Feldman.
Boy, she's showed me something here because I didn't think that she could back off of the ball as well as she has.
If she hadn't, that would have been a split right through the heart. Now, Amanda's got to go for this 3-4, 6-7. Difficult, but makeable.
Slide it. Come on.
Slide.
Something I don't see on the men's tour, Lynda Barnes encouraging her competitor.
Yeah, I always did that, Bo.
Yeah, right, Marshall. As you pulled the chair out from underneath him. Now Stolz.
Wow, that ball held nicely.
Truly the underdog on the scoreboard or the sheet coming in here, but as you picked out, Marshall, she has the best shot to the pocket as we've seen our previous winners, Ballard and Liz Johnson, playing the tight straight line, and that is usually, over the history of bowling, the best line for an outside angle.
All right, great shot from Burgoyne. 16.7 miles. You know, when you hook the ball, your ball goes a little slower down the lane.
Right.
She hit the 8 board at the arrows. She's down by 25 pins. Barnes she wants to make it 35 as she strikes here. Well, that ball was set short. She never got it down the lane, Bo.
Two players hooking the ball a whole bunch, and obviously they can't get the ball to set up in the pocket. They either have to, as you said, Marshall, flatten it out or throw it much harder.
Yeah.
And one thing some of the ladies do struggle with is that high ball speed at that 20, 21 miles an hour. And other than that, I don't see a whole lot of difference between the men pros and the women. It's just the men can throw it a little bit harder to make it set up. She's going for it.
Got to slide.
All of us bowling league, and all of us should know the bowling rules. If a person deliberately fouls, is there a penalty?
The 2007 U.S. Women's Open, a USBC event, is being brought to you by the National Bowling Stadium, home of the 2007 Storm National Mixed Championships, October 4th through November 11th. By Reno's most award-winning hotel, the El Dorado Hotel Casino. What are you waiting for? By Banquet. And by the United States Bowling Congress. Visit bowl.com for the most complete information about the sport of bowling.
We're here in front of an incredible VIP area with Chris Barnes, one of the top tour players on the men's tour. You've got a different role here, though, this week, supporting your wife, Lynda. How tough is it to watch her compete?
Well, I think it's tougher to watch than it is to bowl, actually. I'd rather have it in my hands in throwing it, but her history and her record throwing it when it matters most has been fantastic. So I think my job's, it's been really easy so far this week. She's bowled great, and I think we'll see more of the same.
Do you give her advice, and as husband and wife, or as bowlers? How easy easy or difficult is it to give advice?
Well, we both share advice back and forth. She's very, very knowledgeable, one of the best coaches I know. So she helps me. I help her a little bit too. But like I said, she hasn't needed a whole lot. She really knows what she's doing. She's been bowling great here for a while, preparing for the World Championships and the World Cup, and you know, I think she's going to do really well today.
All right, Chris. Well, thanks for being here. Good luck this season. Back to you.
We'll be back with more action from the U.S. Women's Open, a USBC event. As we're back for the final 5 frames in our third round bracket match of 16, the VIP area, which is just a lovely touch here at the National Bowling Stadium. And you see some of the great women pros hanging around to watch some of the matches. I see Kim Terrell, Kelly Kulig. Stolz has the lead, go out on the limb. She's got an 18-pin lead. Can she put Feldman away?
Well, she's got an 18-pin deficit, and she needs a double. And, you know, this great reaction, it's she hasn't been able to make it work for her. On lane 25, she hits 2 really good shots. She gets wrapped on both of them, and, you know, maybe trying to force the ball a little bit. I know I used to do that. If you couldn't carry, it made you kind of change your dynamics.
Lynda Barnes leads by 13.
Barnes comes back after an open frame, but she's really opened up the game for Burgoyne, who only trails by 13 now. Stolz has the split to try and cover. I think she can make this. It's definitely a makeable one. She's going high and hard. Wow, she gets it.
You know, I didn't think she'd try to go to the left of the 2-pin there, Marshall, but with that straight spear ball that you kind of like, she got the deflection and went ahead and covered it. Now,
yeah, I would have tried to throw more of a hook into it like a strike shot, but that's why they're down there, and we just talk about it.
Results are the final answer. Now, Amanda, can she bounce back in these last 5 frames? Trails by 13 pins. Can cut it to 3.
Oh, and she made her best shot and leaves a 7-10. She moved in a couple of boards on the approach and on the lane. And you know, it's just this is unfortunate. Look how ball's coming back into the pocket. The 5 goes directly behind the 7. 10 stands. Feldman fortunate just to leave the 3-pin.
All of a sudden, Marshall here, 5 frames left to the finish line, and we're seeing balls go all over the lane. Is it the pressure? The lane's changing? What do you think, Fel?
Well, she said she was having they're all wearing wireless mics. She said she was having a little bit of problem with the feel of the mic. Well, so that's
only one person hit the pocket in the last frame among the 4, and that was Lynda Barnes. As you see, Feldman maintaining her 17-pin lead, and the jury is definitely surely out on that. Right now, the young lady, Amanda Burgoyne.
Well, she made a great shot in the last frame and got, not only didn't she get a strike for it, she got penalized for hitting the pocket.
Starter bowling in high school on a full scholarship at Nebraska. The modern bowler gets a free ride.
Well, I tell you, these women, if they don't phone it in when they get in trouble, they keep working and working and working.
Well, they're very disciplined, well coached. One thing I see that they have as good as anybody is balance, Marshall. Great balance.
Feldman coming in light at, you know, that hook ball, as the lanes transition, more oil going down the lanes, it's harder to get the ball into the pocket when you're throwing it with that much of a hook.
Lynda Barnes could take a commanding lead here in the 6th. She could extend her lead to 37 pins with a strike.
Much cleaner upper hand. Yeah, but when she opened on that lane 24 previously, it was a bad delivery. She just didn't make the right shot. As we see a replay of Barnes going high flush and loving it.
Feldman makes her spare to maintain her 15-pin lead. And now, right now, this match, Feldman and Stolz, is, I think, pretty much up for grabs. Barnes can really put an exclamation point on this match with a strike here.
Boy, she got that ball out wide. It's set up nice in the pocket, and Barnes is in just a commanding position right now. Stolz needs to take advantage of what looked like at the onset the perfect roll and the right part of the lane.
Just not rolling your wrist quite through the ball, Marshall, and that's that little tension. And obviously keeping the ball in play, and she's by no means out of this match because, let's face it, Michelle Feldman is either like striker, tough split, or spare. So
yeah, she's made that 2-8 twice, which is not only is it a difficult spare to make, but you know, it's just a fraction of an inch away from being a 2-8-10.
Well, Amanda Burgoyne can strike out for 200, so can make a match of it.
Great shot by Amanda. She knows she still has a chance.
Yep.
But she'll need this one in the 9th. Stolz with the spare ball, going for the 10-pin. She asked for it to hold on, and the ball listened to her.
An absolute must situation for Amanda Burgoyne right here. 9th frame. Any chance to win, she must strike on this shot.
It's been a good lane, Bo. How about a break for Amanda? That 7th pin went down because she willed it down. And her parents watching and loving that one.
Look at the head pin. Does a lot of the work there, Marsh.
Yeah, and the 7th pin doesn't look like it's going to go, but she knows it went because it did just at the very last.
Very cooperative. Now Stolz, key frame.
Well, that's the way that the ball you would think would strike. That's the same shot she threw earlier in the game and left the 7-pin on. And she's missed her good lane, struck on her tough lane. And, you know, she's keeping pressure on Michelle because she keeps striking. Now, Barnes right here with a strike here could pretty much eliminate Burgoyne. Beautiful shot, solid 10.
Well, the scoreboard for Lynda Barnes is simply this. She must mark in this frame and the 10th to shut out Burgoyne. If she would happen to miss here and not double in the 10th, Burgoyne can step up and still win the match. Now Feldman with a 16-pin lead, 8th frame.
Shot.
Boy, she liked that one. Really solid. Keeping that ball speed at 18.6. Barnes, no problem with the spare.
All right, one time.
The women smile a lot more than the men. Have you noticed that, Bo?
I agree.
It's very refreshing.
Well, once they bowl with the men a little bit, as 16 women have qualified to bowl with the men in 4 of the first 5 PBA tournaments this fall on ESPN, they'll learn not to smile as much. Feldman up in the 9th.
Boy, just lost that off her hand. Fortunate in a way because
That was very close.
Sarcastically saying how close that was. If she would have caught that a little better with her hand, that would have been a wide open washout, but she leaves a relatively easy spare.
Lynda Barnes needs a mark and a reasonably good count to win this match.
Carry it.
She needs this spare and a 6-pin count, and she would be the winner. Now Feldman for the 1, 2, 4.
And she goes with the hook ball and misses the spare. You know, you miss spares in the 9th frame, you really open doors up.
I would bet every last dime I have that Amy Stolz is going to come up here and throw a strike.
And you could see that ball just didn't hook enough for her.
And here's the key shot in this match.
Yeah.
Lynda Barnes needs 6 pins to win.
And that should be fairly academic. Right now, Stolz is in a wonderful position of being able to throw a strike and not only take the lead, but really put Feldman on the ropes. More aggressive through that ball. Same result.
Still got the half in. She liked it.
You bet.
She still is in there. She needs a spare. She'll still be trailing by 4 as we see the veteran Lynda Barnes needing 6 pins to advance to the championship round in this bracket match. And she's the winner.
Almost apologetic on that shot, but it sure looked good to me.
Yes, sir.
Great sportsmanship.
Feldman match is still out. finishing up. It's just academic at this point. Can end up with a respectable 200 game, and that wouldn't even reflect how well she bowled. A couple of bad breaks, swishing 7-10, and obviously a young lady who will be quite a force coming up in the future years. The future of bowling is out there right now, as these ladies are well trained, they're very entertaining, and they bowl super. The depth of the field in women's bowling today, Marshall, is the best I've ever seen it.
Stolz needs a double to force Feldman to double. There's the first one, and I agree with you. The reason the women are better today than they might have been 10, 15, 20 years ago is there's high school bowling, there's college bowling, there's that Team USA bowling. It's all that competition has really raised the level of play.
Well, look at Amanda. Started in high school, got a full scholarship in college, got great training, and here she's getting ready to turn pro. And she looks good. She's finishing out with a very respectable score, and this match is going to end up closer than it actually was. And really the bad break that she got, the 7-10 split on an apparent good hit, is the difference in that match.
Absolutely.
Now Stolz with a key shot, Marshall.
This shot to take the lead. It's got to hurry. It's got to hurry. Look at that. There's the first break she's gotten this game. She tickles the pins down, and that's going to force Feldman to get up there and double the 10th.
I agree. Pin count is almost academic in that match because it's the 3 against 9. Amanda trying to finish out with a long string of strikes. Very respectable, 196.
Yeah. And you can tell she's proud of herself, and she should be.
All right, possible 209 for Amy Stolz, the underdog on the charts, but yet the gal you picked to win, Marshall.
She shoots a really nice 209 game. I know when you were in your prime, you bowled a lot of games just like that, where you just kept hammering the pocket, and you just take a double here and there, and you can just grind people out.
Well, if you don't get open frames, Marshall, as you well know, especially in one-game matches, you have a great chance to win. Now, the scoreboard is right there.
Yeah.
Michelle needs 2 strikes and 7 to win.
It's her good lane.
And anything less, though, it's all over.
This has been the lane where she's been the most comfortable on. She chose this pair. She chose to finish on that lane. We're going to get a replay coming right into your living room. Watch the power. She really snaps through that ball hard.
Great wrist action.
Pop out that 10 pin and the reaction, and you bet.
This is the key shot. Must strike.
Now she needs to maintain that same speed, not over-energize the ball. She's a champion.
Well, it's not over yet, Marshall, because she needs 6 pins, and with that power ball, there's a lot of power players, and you being one of them, it's either sometimes strike or 6 or 5. It's not the 7, 8, 9 count, and 7 pins to win to go on to meet Lynda Barnes in our final, and this our 3rd bracket round of 16 in the U.S. Open Women's Championship 2007 version. 7 pins.
She's staying with her strike line. Some people might just throw hard and straight down the middle, and
I never bought into that, really.
She pulled it.
She's a winner,
and she'll take it.
Great match.
I thought, God, I don't want to throw my gun. I'm so scared playing out there. Nice bowling.
Well, it's going to be Michelle Feldman against the veteran Lynda Barnes in our championship match here in week number 3. We'll be back with more from the U.S. Women's Open, a USBC event, right after this. Barnes is a winner, 205 over 196 over very game Amanda Burgoyne. And let's listen to what husbands and wives talk about in between games.
Yeah, I thought I was going to throw it hard enough, and then I got slower as we started to get closer.
I think that's why there's people are winning. Because one lane will appear well, straighter doesn't. It just kind of blends out.
Yeah, I did my usual. I got softer. When I think I'm going to get firmer, I got softer and slower. I'm like, what are you doing? Just go and go after it. So.
In our other semifinal match, it was the powerful Michelle Feldman with 211 against a game Amy Stolz with 209, a very tight match. It's going to be Feldman and Barnes in the final. We'll be back with more action from the U.S. Women's Open, a USBC event. Marshall, we have the power player, Feldman. Who do you like in this match?
Well, this is the toughest one to call. If Feldman bowls on a bad lane, she's using two different balls right now. I like that strategy, but I just have to go with Barnes because of the way that she's on the outside playing it straighter. So I think Barnes has the edge, but I believe this is the closest of the three semifinals that we've watched.
All right. Lynda carefully setting herself, playing that outside line.
She pulled it, and she got away with it. Boy, what a confidence builder right there. That ball was left off her hand. You'll be able to see this graphically, Bo, on this replay. That ball hit about 5 or 6 at the arrows, and it held pocket. Getting a friendly trip.
Marshall, that's what they were talking about in between. Chris, her husband, the great player on the men's tour, was saying, Lynda, the advantage goes to the player who can go straight. And you saw that. Carolyn Dorin Ballard's in the announce booth with us, and that was a strategy for you, wasn't it, Carolyn?
Obviously, I think the lanes are playing definitely in favor if you can go straighter. The angle is much better for Carolyn. And I do know Lynda has been working on trying to play the lane straighter, so that's definitely going to be a confidence booster for her.
It looked like she picked up her speed, too, Marsh.
She did, and she really made a great shot in the second frame. And, you know, that's what you have to do in bowling, especially at the highest level. Boy, if you get a break, take advantage of it.
Today I'll be using the angular one from Ebonites. This ball rolls a little bit in the front and lays off in the back. I'll be starting with this ball. If I need a little bit more, I need to move a little bit left, I'll be going to the total envy. And if I need to move even farther in, I'll be going to the game breaker. And this is my spare ball, so I won't be using that today.
The first woman to bowl a televised 300 game, Michelle Feldman. Can she maintain the pace?
They're coming out with all guns firing, Bo.
I'd like to tell you that the 300 was against me.
And here is
I don't know if you knew that or not.
our first bracket winner of week 1, Carolyn Dorin Ballard. And Carolyn will be in our championship match on October 14th. And we're glad to have you in the announce booth and help us out with the girls.
Thank you. It's nice to be back, especially on the lanes and in the booth.
That a girl.
It's good to have you with us.
Both players perfect through 2.
Look out! Look out! A little messenger 4-pin. Once again, Feldman using a different ball on the left lane and the right lane. So she's going with a ball that has more surface on the left lane to pick up the roll because she was having problems. She left the 2-8 twice on lane 25 in the opening match. She seems to have solved that problem.
Yeah, because Michelle does like to go away from it just a little bit, so she needed a little help, got that surface, and it seems like it's worked.
Barnes looking comfortable, Bo.
Both players perfect.
I have a Paradigm Passion with a pin-up. It's a low RG ball, controls the mid lane. I also have a special agent with the pin in the middle of my grip, the earlier roll continuation, and I have my handy-dandy spare ball.
Former gymnast Lynda Barnes comes up and tries to keep the pressure on Feldman. Both players perfect.
She throws that ball and she says, "Oh, help me." That was right of her target. Even Feldman thought that was kind of humorous.
I throw one there and it strikes, I'm good.
You bet.
Well, isn't that a confidence builder, Carolyn, when you know you got a little area to the right and it comes back? If this slides out for a split, it changes the whole texture of the match.
Absolutely, and then she missed a little bit left on the right lane and trips the 4-pin. So she's got a little area both ways. That's definitely a big confidence booster.
And having a hand like that's a big confidence booster. But she really just saws on the ball. Got that good ball speed, 18-8 going down the lane.
I always tell her every week when we bowled on tour, that's ridiculous. How do you do that?
Yeah, well, she can do things to a bowling ball that most men cannot. They can't get that kind of power on the ball.
I always asked her where her break point was, and then I moved 20 to the right and made sure I hit the same board.
Look at her eyes. You look so close to the foul line. You don't see many players do that anymore. In the 3 weeks of our championship round telecast, this is the best break we've seen anybody get at a critical critical point.
Watch how far that ball's down the lane before it starts breaking back. Just touches the head pin. Looks like it's going to be the 2 and the 7. There's no 7. There's no 2.
Wow, let's see how Lynda Barnes reacts to that. Sometimes that can have a negative effect on you, but let's see how she does.
Wow. Great shot by Barnes and Bo. I know that when I was bowling on tour, if someone got a break like that, it would have affected me. I was not as smart as these ladies are. They just keep on pushing forward.
Marshall, I remember a match in St. Louis, you and Mark Roth both starting with 9 in a row, so I know you can stay the pace when you need to, and that's the way this match is. Now, who is going to be the first girl to flinch?
I choose not to watch my opponent bowl.
That's good.
Because, you know, but that's how I stay focused, and because I can't control anything they do. I can only control what I do.
That's a smart way to bowl. Is that going to hold? Boy, that ball went long. 5-pin gets sawed out. It's 6 in a row for Barnes. She now leads by 10 pins. Smiles o'plenty from her and hubby.
No room for the fate of heart here. It's just either strike or go home. Bowling knowledge. Let's go to Chris Barnes and Chris Paul for a USBC coaching lesson.
On the court, Chris Paul can do way more than just shoot a jump shot. The top bowlers also use versatility on the lanes by using hand positions, equipment, speed, and angle to beat the defense.
In the NBA, being versatile is key to becoming one of the best. Many people can just pass, shoot, and dribble, but to do them all makes you one of the elite.
But there's a lot to being versatile on the PBA Tour. When playing an outside angle, I will use more speed by backing up on the approach and a weaker hand position. From the middle of the lane, I'll use a medium speed, medium hand position, and open my right foot a little bit to keep my hips square to my target. From the inside angle, I will use slower speed by moving up on the approach, a stronger wrist position, and open my foot even further to keep my hips square to the target. To get to the top of your game, I think you need 3 speeds, 3 hand positions, and the ability to play up to 6 arrows.
Well, how do I practice that?
Well, you experiment by playing different parts of the lanes with different speeds and different hand positions, but the best way to learn is to see a USBC certified coach.
Chris Barnes and the PBA's best return to Miller Park for the finals of the USBC Masters from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Be sure to tune in to ESPN at 1 p.m. on October 28th for all the exciting action. Feldman trying to match Barnes. Both players are perfect through 5.
This has been Feldman's better of the 2 lanes. And she leaves the 10-pin. Boy, she wheeled that one out there. She liked it off her hand. 11-pin deficit.
Well, the strategy for Feldman, especially match game strategy, you can't be too disappointed even though your opponent has 6 in a row. You don't figure they're going to go ahead and shoot 300, a perfect game. So maintain, get the spare, maintain her composure, and get back to striking.
The good thing about these 2 women, too, is they do have TV experience. They've both been on TV before. They know how to mentally adapt to a break, a bad break, good break, whether it be, and like you said, Bo, you're probably not going to shoot 300. I mean, that's how you have to think. So every frame is just as important as the one before it.
Good point, Carolyn. Then you have the classic difference. You have the cerebral player in Lynda Barnes, and you have the premier power player in Michelle Feldman as we come up here in the 7th frame, final match.
Just saw them out there. It's no big deal. It's just a very Feldman-esque.
We're using 3-pound 6-ounce to 3-pound 10-ounce pins, all sanctioned by the USBC. And when you have that much power, Marshall, they could have been tree trunks and she'd have knocked them out.
Yeah. Now Barnes with an 11-pin lead. Big shot here could increase that to 21. Got
Got to have some breaks if you're going to get 7 strikes in a row.
Carolyn looks like she's really throwing the ball well off her hand, though. That was a clean release.
She's bowling really well. Lynda and I bowled a doubles tournament 2 weeks ago. We bowl a lot of doubles tournaments together. And she really has. She has really worked on being able to get further right on the lane. She likes to kind of loop it a little bit. She's worked really hard on it and also maintaining the ball speed while doing that because she's not comfortable. So here, practice pays off because here she is and she's getting the results she wants.
Perfect through 7, 8th frame. Two-thirds the way, Marshall.
Best shot of the match right there. Right off her hand. She's going good shot, good shot. She knew it. The players, when it comes off your hand, Carolyn, you know. And as you see this ball come off of Lynda's hand, it just high flush immediately.
You definitely know when you let it go, whether, you've thrown it good or it's going in the right direction. And she likes that one from the get-go.
Beautiful shot from Feldman.
Marshall, something we've seen over the history of the PBA on national television is when a player does bowl the, quote, unspeakable perfect game, they're usually being pushed to that point. And remember Mike Albee against David Ozio in Wichita, 279 to 300. And I feel that's important. What Michelle not only can still win the game if Barnes stumbles a little bit, but also to keep pushing Barnes. Here we go, 9th frame.
Good shot.
Yeah, not too many women, or men for that matter, can strike when the ball hits in that part of the pocket. That ball came from way out of nowhere, splashed those pins out of there, and she does keep the heat right on Barnes. And they're encouraging each other, which is something that I think the women do a lot more than the men.
I was going to say that the women are a little bit nicer about it than the men.
9th frame, Lynda Barnes is perfect through 8.
Hold on. Whoa, that ball went long. Didn't that look a little bit left off her hand?
It was a little bit left off her hand, but because of the ball speed, she was able to keep it on line, and a great finish.
What a happy spectator Chris Barnes is right now.
Chris is always happy when he thinks money's going into his pocket. So.
Well, he's usually happy then.
Lynda Barnes, a situation for her. She needs a strike here to lock up the match. This match is not over. She may be thinking 300, but she should be thinking match. Here it is. The biggest shot of the match so far. Marshall, that locks up the match. Now she's on the doorstep to immortality in women's bowling right now.
Well, I certainly didn't see this coming. I would have thought, 220, 230 would win this game. These women have stepped it up to an unbelievable level, and right now, the second ball in the 10th frame, she's got 10 in a row going for 11. Like you said, immortality.
And I'd like to make a note that every 300 on the PWBA Tour was bowled against me. This will be the first one without me.
Hang on, she pulled it. Well,
a great run, Marshall, as Lynda Barnes is going to have a 289. Feldman a possible 279. She has to finish out. But what a terrific, terrific match. As you said, we didn't see this coming. That's a very demanding condition. And as she hit a board and a half left as our CAT system picked it up. And what a terrific game. 289. The winner, Lynda Barnes, advances to the finals October 14th for the Michelle Feldman could possibly bowl 279 with 2 more strikes.
And you know she's going to try and do it.
She'll be in the 250s with a spare. What a terrific match.
Great sportsmanship. Feldman with a possible 258. Barnes shoots 289. And I'll tell you, Lynda Barnes advances to the finals on October 14th.
Back to you.
3 of the finalists for the U.S. Open title have been decided by today's 289-258 victory by Lynda Barnes. Be sure to be with us next week as 4 more bowlers compete for the final spot. And be sure to be with us for the finals right here at the National Bowling Stadium on Sunday, October p.m. For Christine Brennan and Marshall Holman, this is Bo Burton saying so long from Reno. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Again, Barnes over Feldman, 289, 258, and advances.
Information about the sport of bowling.
Welcome back to the U.S. Women's Open Bowling Championships. Our first semifinal pits a veteran against a relative newcomer, and that veteran, Dorin Ballard, 43 years old, the winner of 20 women's tour titles and one intense competitor.
I don't think you can teach someone to have killer instinct. Yes, baby! There are times now I look back, I think I could have been a little more lighthearted.
She's saying skid. First of two strikes that she needs. I don't know who wants it more, Dell or Carolyn.
Because it's all about me when I'm bowling. I mean, that's just the way it is. Come on! One more! I can't change that about me. I've tried, and I try to lighten up. Hit it! Yes! Come on! When I compete, I want to be the best, and I want to win.
You deserve it.
And facing Dorin Ballard will be Shannon O'Keefe, 28 years old, a great athlete, also on a roll, taking the bowling world by storm recently with a world championship gold medal in singles. Athletics is a big part of Shannon O'Keefe's life.
Being out on tour and talking to Lynda about her experiences on Team USA, I could really do that. You know, I watched these women bowl for 4 years on TV, and then to be out there with them, it was very intimidating, but it was really exciting. I had tried out for the U.S. softball team when I was 15. There's not a lot of athletes that get the opportunity to try out for the United States team in two sports. There's no better feeling in the world than to represent your country in another country and hear the national anthem. It's awesome.
Well, Marshall, it's been 32 games of qualifying, 4 rounds of quarterfinals, and now we are down to the semifinals of the 2007 U.S. Open. First up will be Carolyn Dorin Ballard, left-hand lane.
On a great start for Dorin Ballard, and it looks like she's going a little more of an aggressive ball than she used in her quarterfinal victory.
Well, for the fans that watched the quarterfinals, Marshall, we saw them play the outside line, and when they get striking, they can knock a ton of pins down. The last game this young lady bowled in the quarterfinals was a 299. Her first shot, right-hand lane.
Now ball left of her target. You can see her walking back and shaking her head. Fortunate that the 7-pin fell out, just leaving the 6 and the 10. Relatively easy spare. She'll move to the left, go cross alley with a hard ball that doesn't hook very much at all.
We asked Shannon yesterday, what's in her bag? Every pro takes a bunch of bowling balls, and let's see what she has today.
Today in my bag, I'm going to start with my benchmark ball. It's the Storm Special Agent. It's clean through the front, nice clean motion on the back of the lane. If I need something that goes a little longer, a little smoother, I'm going to go to my Thunderstruck. And if I need something that is a little strong on the back end but still a little cleaner through the front, I'm going to go to the new Attitude Shift.
She really gave that ball a lot of room. That ball very close to the channel, Bo, going down the lane.
You know, as we watched her practice yesterday, the ladies were in here practicing yesterday. Shannon had a number of balls in the old mode out there, Marshall, but she has to trust it that far because she throws the big hook.
You could see it at 50 feet. It was still on like the 2 board, so she certainly did trust it. Once again, straight with the spare ball, and no problem. Boy, you know, the game goes by so fast, Bo. It's 10 frames. There's 2 frames gone, and Ballard has a chance to get up in the second frame, take an early 11-pin lead with a strike.
Well, I think that's where the veterans, and I remember the late Dick Weber, how he used to stomp on me all the time. He'd catch me right out of the chute. Let's see what Ballard does right here. Carolyn Dorin has a bunch of bowling balls with her, too. Let's see what hits her bag.
Let me tell you what bowling balls I have in my bag. Oh, first of all, let me remove the inspection sticker. Doesn't prove I travel too much, does it? I have found that the lanes are a little bit cleaner today for me. I have a lot more back end, so I have chosen bowling balls that are a little bit early rolling and to put surface on them to mellow out the reaction off the dry boards. I'm going to start with my Total Inferno, which is my earliest rolling bowling ball. Once this quits on the back end and I don't quite get that kick of the 10-pin out, I'm going to go to my Strike Zone, which is a little bit more lengthy, but still gives me that mellow arc off the dry. And once both of these bowling balls don't work, I'm going to go to my Absolute Inferno, which was my winning ball in my semifinal match. And always in your bowling ball, you have to have your Target Zone, which is your plastic bowling ball, to shoot all my spares. And last but not least, my towel.
A much better delivery by O'Keefe on the right-hand lane. Remember, though, she came in a little bit high last time. That ball she projected further down the lane, and Dorin Ballard's got a lot of stuff going on in her bag.
Well, Shannon has a lot of keys to victory, but the main thing, Marshall, and you picked it out early, is the consistent backswing. In other words, getting it up nice and high and fluid and keeping that nice tempo flow. And as long as she keeps it slow and lets it flow, she's very tough. Now she needs to throw a double right here to cut the lead back down to 11 pins. Fourth frame.
Wow. That's the way to step it up, Shannon. You know, Ballard starts out with 3 in a row, and well, the game can get over in a big hurry, but that puts her back only 11 pins down. Last shot that Dorin Ballard threw on lane 26, I really thought was going to go high, but the ball she is using stops a little bit early into the pocket. Take a look at some of Carolyn Dorin Ballard's keys to victory. She had a little trouble with her right shoulder, but that's not bothering her too much anymore. Maintaining a good solid. Oh.
Darn it, Carolyn.
Boy.
It's awful.
And there is Carolyn's daughter and her husband, Dell, who also works for Brunswick. Carolyn will just go for 1 pin here, Marshall. Just a bad break.
Well, watch the 5-pin. It doesn't get over into the 7-pin and let flat 10 stand. So we saw a lot of that in practice. And right now this game is going to be O'Keefe with just a small advantage.
We have two diametrically different styles here, Marshall, as you picked out, with Ballard going straight and down and in. We saw it in the quarterfinals that the player who could go the straightest ended up with probably the best results. And O'Keefe, although, you know, put that thought aside if she's throwing the big hook, and if she can keep it in the pocket, it's hard to out-carry her. So with just a 3-pin differential through 4 frames, the match is anybody's.
Oh, and the solid 8. You just can't make a better shot than that, Bo.
Well, 2 bad frames in a row, really bad breaks. You'll see the 2-pin is the one is the culprit. It actually, people think it's it actually knocks the 5-pin off, Marshall, and it goes right by the 8-pin. That's just almost a little too much power, but obviously an easy spare, but in a one-game match, it's very disappointing. This week's matchup on Monday Night Football features Eli Manning, Plaxico Burress, and the New York Giants facing Warwick Dunn and the Atlanta Falcons. Monday Night Football on ESPN begins at 8:30 p.m. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Eastern with Monday Night Countdown.
Now O'Keefe up on the right lane.
Strike here. She has a 13-pin lead, Marsh.
6 pins wobbling. Doesn't fall. And she knows she just made a poor shot there. Maybe a little bit anxious to get that third strike. Right here the ball looks pretty good, but it's going to drive really hard. Fortunate, breaks everything down, almost gets the squasher hit and knocks down the 6 pin. Simple spare, no problem.
Marshall, you know, we watch these ladies bowl as her husband looks on, Shannon O'Keefe's husband, who is quite a bowler himself, bowled for the Nebraska team, the national champions in the 90s, coached by Bill Straub, a good friend of ours. But going back to the pair of lanes, is that we watched in the quarterfinals that they weren't hooking quite this much. And today it's a little different, yet they say it's supposed to be the same lane condition. What causes that?
Well, the machine hasn't been used in a long time for this pattern. So you'll see O'Keefe come in light, high on the right lane, live on the left lane. It's been a while since they bowled the quarterfinals. Not as many people bowled this tournament, so that changes things. We can see just coming in light. This is a difficult spare because of that 8-pin sleeper. Needs to cover both pins with the ball. And that shows her power. Just barely gets that one.
All right, the match is all even through 5.5 frames. We'll be back with the final 5 frames of the first match right after this.
Welcome back to the U.S. Women's Open Bowling Championships. Halfway through the first semifinal, Carolyn, Dorin, Ballard, of course, we've seen her. Well, she's got a younger sister named Kathy Dorin Lizzie. Kathy, you have watched your older sister bowl for what, 30 years? Yes, and so with that open frame there, how do you think she reacted?
Well, she reacted the way I knew she would. She came back through a great shot. Unfortunately, she got the bad break. But Carolyn has always been an offensive bowler. She doesn't concern herself with her opponent or the score until it's absolutely necessary, and she'll bounce back like she always does. She sticks to her game plan.
And Kathy, you are also very involved in bowling, are you not?
I'm one of the representatives of our USBC Ambassador Program. Awesome program where the pros go out and meet the people all over the country through exhibitions, lessons, speaking engagements, and clinics. Anybody that wants to meet the pros and learn about bowling, get on bowl.com and come see us.
All right, well, thank you very much. And now we'll go back to the booth.
Thank you, Christine. And Kathy, quite a bowler herself, as her sister is up on the right-hand lane. This is her 6th frame. The match is all even through 6 frames.
You can see the consistency of Carolyn, Dorin, Ballard using our CAT system. That's a computer-aided tracking system. And boy, the position on the lane, very close. The speed, almost identical.
Grabbed it.
She said she grabbed it, Marshall. What's that mean, bud?
Well, at the bottom of the swing, she's trying to let the ball roll smoothly off her hand. That one, she sort of got a little extra wrist in, a little extra fingers. Ball rotated more. And these balls are so dynamic, they really adhere to the dry lanes.
And with us in the announce booth, joining Marshall Holman and myself, is one of the great young players in the world, 2-time women's Masters champion, Deandra Asbady. Welcome, Deandra.
Hello, thank you, and thanks for having me. It's an honor to be between 2 legends here.
What do you think of the match so far, dear?
Well, it's close, and it could go either way right now.
Ballard needs to just forget about that last shot. In fact, after she left it, she said, that's okay. We'll just continue from here. Very positive mental attitude.
Right in between.
Yeah, half 10. Last time she solidates on lane 25. This time leaves a soft 10. The pin just doesn't quite get out of the flat gutter to knock it out. She'll go with her spare ball. Finds herself 14 pins behind at this point. The score is a little bit lower than we anticipated, Bo.
I agree. Well, Deandra, one of your good friends, Shannon O'Keefe, is kind of in the driver's seat right now, up 14 pins as she comes up in the 7th frame. But, the match is wide open. What do you expect out of Shannon here right at the end?
Shannon is, I don't know if you can get a stronger athlete. She is an unbelievable player, and she's tiny, but the energy that she translates to that ball from her body is fierce.
Yeah, she does have a lot of acceleration at the release point. Watch this.
But she really got a lot on that ball, and that ball's going high as well, leaving the 3 and the 6.
You know, it's interesting to me to see the way that their balls are rolling. Carolyn's using a ball that's even and burning up a little bit sooner, and Shannon's using a ball that's storing more energy and popping at the back and storing a little bit too much energy on that shot.
And it's really hard to change with just 1 or 2 frames left in the match so close.
Important spare. All right, she covers it. We'll take a look at Deandra's stats from our computer-aided tracking system.
Or Shannon's stats.
Excuse me. That's right, Shannon's stats. Thank you, Deandra. I've got Deandra on my mind right now. Her speed, very, very close. A little bit different with the position on the lane. Not quite as consistent as Dorin Ballard.
Okay, 8th frame. She leads by 12. Wow.
She was pleading for that ball to stop hooking. It sat like she asked for it.
You know, I asked Shannon how she prepared within these couple of months that she had, and she said she had not put out the cheetah pattern at all to practice on. She didn't want any preconceived notions, whereas Carolyn had lots of bowling centers around Dallas put out the condition for her.
Well, it's good. 2 good schools of thought. I kind of go with Shannon. You know, you got to adjust to what's happening there today. Now, up in the key 8th frame, trailing by 12, Carolyn, Dorin, Ballard.
Boy, she really liked that ball off her hand.
Shot. That's all you can do.
Deandra looks like she moved a little bit farther left on the lane to cut down the hook and didn't really get a good break.
Yeah, you know, I think she's making the right ball choices. That right lane seems to be pretty tricky.
You could see the ball coming in light. She liked it. You could hear her husband, Del Ballard. He's talking about the ball starting to burn up. It's hooking a little too soon, not having enough stored power at the back.
All right. Shot. Back on it.
Del, you were mentioning that ball's burning up a little bit, not storing enough energy to the back end. Does she need to be making a ball change now?
Well, you know, there's 2 ways to look at it. She went through the same transition during the show the last time she bowled here today. I think they're burning up a little bit quicker, and normally she tries to trick it by pitching the ball out on the lane just a little bit. And whenever she grabbed it on the right lane and let the split, I think it was more of an over pitch more than just a grab. She is trying to get the ball out on the lane to make it soar just a little bit more.
Well, thanks a lot.
In Lehman's turn, she's just trying to throw it down there a little bit harder to cut the hook down. She has 3 frames left.
Now's the time to get started.
Roll up. Yes.
So that was a good adjustment.
All right, a big frame for Shannon O'Keefe. She leads by 13. She knows that Ballard can perform in the 10th. This is the biggest shot of the match. Can extend her lead to 23, 9th frame, first semifinal match.
The lane she's come on high twice. Not this time. Look at that power. And you can see the way, just the want in her eyes.
Shannon knows how to throw them under pressure. I watched every single ball she threw to win that gold medal in Mexico, singles striking.
Watch the way, look at the intensity in her eyes. She lets that ball go, really puts a lot of authority through it.
Just sawed him in half, right, Marsh?
And she knew the importance of that frame. Now she's in a position where if she gets a good count in the mark and another good count, she can shut Dorin Ballard out.
Or a strike is Lock City.
No, that's the best count.
Wow. She has a potential 234 unless she throws it in the channel, Marshall. And you know what? We've seen it happen more than once. In fact, Del Ballard did that before. You know, she has the match won. Do you go it down the middle? Hey, diddle, diddle down the middle?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I don't think you mess around with 1, 2, or 3 board. I think you move in a little bit. You know you've got this match won. A little bit left, just a little bit. She comes in light. 9 count will be plenty for Shannon O'Keefe. kind of surprised that Dorin Ballard had a few shots where she didn't get out of it quite the way she wanted, and then really a lot of really bad carry.
Bradbury, solid 8, swishing 7-10, weak 10, and really both players pounded pocket pretty well. 2:23. We'll be back after these commercial messages. Christine will chat with our first finalist, who is Shannon O'Keefe. But first, let's take a look at some of the past U.S. Open champions.
Back to the U.S. Women's Open, we have the first finalist, Shannon O'Keefe, 223 to 209 winner over Carolyn, Dorin, Ballard. Shannon, early on, you got down. Was that nerves? What were you thinking at that point?
It was a little nerves, and I was having trouble with my slide foot. I was slipping a little too much in my third step when I was going to push off. My foot was slipping, and so I wasn't really comfortable going into my slide, and a little nervous on top of that.
And then when you see the open frame, is that when you pounce?
Yeah, it's go time. You got to take every chance you get. Bowling women like this, you're not going to get many opportunities. So you have to take every opportunity you can and run with it.
You certainly did that. Congratulations. We'll see you in the final. Thank you very much. As we have each week, now it's time to hear from two of our favorite Chris's. USBC Coaching is presented by U.S. Bowler Magazine.
The finish position is paramount in all sports, and especially bowling. Great balance and form is something all great athletes like yourself have.
Balance and form are very important in becoming a complete basketball player. All great shooters have had a great combination of both, and it really helps me with my crossover dribble.
Well, in bowling, a great finish position will give you the best combination of power, accuracy, and versatility. Just watch how Kim does it. Kim's perfect finish position with her trail leg down on the ground allows her upper body to be slightly forward but still over her knee.
Chris, I think my balance has always been one of my strengths in my game, and it's what's helped me be successful on the ladies' tour.
Well, I want to finish like that.
Well, me too.
Go for it.
There we go, there we go.
Having superior form and balance and a strong finishing position is important in all sports.
Finals of the USBC Masters from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Be sure to tune in to ESPN at 1 p.m. on October 28th for all the exciting action.
All right, and we're back again at the U.S. Women's Open with Kim Terrell, 2001 U.S. Women's Open champion. Can you put into words what it means to win this title?
It'll remain the highlight of my career. And the honor of winning the U.S. Open, regardless of the sport, it just translates. And it's any sport you'd be proud to be a champion in that event.
And you've moved on, of course. You're now the head women's coach at Delaware State. College bowling is taking off. When you see that and then you look at the depth there and see what we're doing here today, do you see that that's the feeder system for this level?
Absolutely. I love my new job. I couldn't enjoy it more. The players that I have, the student athletes that I have at Delaware are so excited about learning the game, and it's a testament to the program, to collegiate bowling, and all that we can provide to help them reach this level, and hopefully there'll be something for them to bowl when they get out of school.
All right, well, thanks, Kim. You're a great role model, and you've obviously had a great career, and of course that continues as well. Good luck at Delaware State. Thanks very much for being with us. And now we'll go to break. We'll be back in a few moments with the U.S. Women's Open, the second semifinal. Lynda against Liz Johnson for that second spot in the final. We'll be back in a moment. Okay, and welcome back to the U.S. Women's Open as we prepare for the second semifinal with the VIP area behind me. You'll see a lot of these wonderful fans here who are enjoying the action from the National Bowling Stadium in Reno, Nevada. Our second semifinal now is up, and Liz Johnson, 33 years old, best known for playing against the men and beating most of them, finishing second in a PBA Tour men's event in 2005. With the hallmark is is for this woman is she has no fear, calm, cool, and collected.
I have my PBA membership since last year. When we were first allowed to compete against the guys, it's not something that came to my mind that I was going to do. The men are definitely a lot stronger. They can overpower. Women are a lot more accurate. I like the competition either way.
Today she makes history as the first woman to compete in a PBA TV finals.
To have the crowd behind you the way I did just gave me shivers, and it was an amazing week for me.
This is history, Randy. What a start. First ever ball thrown by a woman.
And Liz Johnson will be facing Lynda Barnes, 40 years old, mother of two, the wife of PBA superstar Chris Barnes. Family is by far the most important thing to Lynda.
One of the best things she taught me was that it was okay to win. I was always, as a woman, you kind of grow up thinking, I can't be arrogant and I got to be nice and I got to be friendly, and that's why I was always so much better at the team sport, because it was okay for me to be arrogant if I had 7 or 8 people around me. I finally realized, it's okay to win. I work hard and I do the things I need to do to get it done, and it's okay for me to go, I pulled good today.
Hey Troy, watch Daddy.
Everything's changed. I'm never the same after children. My hips are a little wider. My swing might bounce out a little bit more. But I think the biggest thing is just being relaxed, because bowling is just fun. In my life, is the kids come first, and they're the most important thing. So to be able to go out and bowl and know that my kids are at home, and that when I get home they're going to hug me and love me whether I win or lose, it just lightens the atmosphere of bowling.
The second semifinal match coming up, Lynda Barnes. Let's see how she prepares for her match. A little kiss from her World Championship husband, and Liz Johnson coming up. Hey, Marshall, Liz Johnson averaged 220 as she got through the qualifying, the lowest among all the players. Lynda Barnes averaged 247. What do you think they're thinking about going to this match?
Well, I know that they were very interested spectators watching the previous match, watching the lanes transition. It's so much about getting that right ball in your hand and getting off to a good start. Liz Johnson, lane 25.
And Deandra, we looked at the scoring before we went on the telecast, and we said if the lanes get a little tough, and it looked like they were in the first match, that actually Johnson had a slight advantage because she goes hard and straight. What's your opinion?
So it's going to be hard to beat her.
All right. See what Barnes does. She's a tough competitor.
She just loved it. Came off her hand very clean. Went through the heads just beautifully. But the 6-pin went right around the bottom of the 10.
Is that a good sign or a bad sign?
Well,
threw it well.
I've got to think that if you get it off your hand properly, that helps to get you in the flow of the match. So the ball didn't strike. Sometimes great shots don't strike. Once again, like all of our ladies, she'll be going with the harder plastic ball straight at the 10-pin.
Let's take a look at what Lynda Barnes carries to the bowling center for her tournament.
My game plan for today is to start with this ball here. It's my Spitfire. It's a good medium ball with good back-end reaction. If I need a little more length with back-end reaction, I'm going to go to my Thunderstruck. If I need something to even it out a little bit, I'm going to go to my Special Agent. And for a great new ball, I have my Attitude Shift, which is, with this drilling, the lengthiest with the most continuation. And hopefully this ball I won't get to use it all, but that's my spare ball.
All right, second frame.
Oh, the only thing I can think after that shot is, Chris who?
Well, Deandra, the first couple of shots, I don't care if you bowled on the tour as long as Marshall Holman or any of these ladies, it's still tough under the lights. It's a different scenario in here. You have a big crowd in here, and it's nice and quiet. Let's see what Liz Johnson can get out to an early lead. If she strikes here, she'll have a 10-pin lead. Second frame.
You can see she doesn't want to overthrow the ball. Great shot from Johnson. Really just the consummate control player. And this pattern really does suit her well.
Liz Johnson has a lot of great speed control, but she needs different bowling balls also.
Today I'm going to start out, my benchmark ball will be my Agent. If I want something bit more length and a little archier back end. And if I need some to still go long but continue, our new shift attitude will be the one to go to. And then I have my Storm spare ball.
And she leaves the week 7 pin. The 5 pin just didn't quite drive over there.
Leander, we've seen today, and maybe it's the pressure of the U.S. Open, but we haven't seen the pins quite carry. I don't say it's a luck quotient, but I think it's a matter of being relaxed, and the pressure makes it a little tougher.
It's for a national huge title, so it takes some time to settle in, make those good shots.
And the pins understand. They know what you're feeling.
Oh, that's for sure.
Yeah, they don't care. The pins don't care who you are, but they can tell if the ball's rolling down their right.
That is correct, Marshall. Okay, Lynda Barnes up, third frame, trails by 9, could take the lead with a strike.
Left a solid 10 last time on lane 26. Really wants to just repeat that same shot. He gets it into an early roll, but did not come back up the pocket. You could hear Barnes saying that was a terrible shot. Now she leaves herself with a real tough lead. The 2 pin, the 4 pin, and the 8.
Leander, it's tough to tell if she just lost it off her hand or the lane's a little slicker.
Yeah, it just seems like it just didn't have enough pop in the back end. It just didn't get there.
Only she knows if it was the kind of release that she wanted.
Well, it didn't seem like it from her reaction.
Correct myself, that's the 2, the 5, and the 8.
It's a tough spare to shoot. I don't know if I'd want to shoot that right now.
Now they often say that children emulate their parents, but the Barnes children take it a little bit farther. Here is Ryan. Tell me he doesn't look like his father's form. And what about Troy? Think he has been watching his mom a little too much? And watch this, Marshall.
It's priceless.
Watch the end here.
Yes. Well, no problem for Mom on lane 25 as she strikes.
Much better shot.
Family affair here.
Well, those high fives got to hurt. Johnson working on a spare. 9 pins ahead.
Wow, that was in, and it held.
You can hear her say push, push, push. When she's saying that, what is she talking about?
She just wants that ball to lay off. She doesn't want it to continue to hook into the pocket, and it did.
Listen
just
to her.
like she said.
Live bowling continues on ESPN Sunday, October 28th from Miller Park with the 2007 USBC Masters, where the top PBA players compete for the title. The 2007 USBC Masters on ESPN Sunday, October 28th at 1 p.m. Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPN.com.
That's the same chit she had last time on lane 25, but this time the 7 pin responds. She gets a double and increases her lead.
Well, it's just about mandatory for Lynda Barnes to get something going on the right-hand lane. She's been perfect on the left, but needs to cut into that 19-pin lead of Liz Johnson. 5th frame, big shot.
She really trusted that ball.
It seems like the right-hand lane there is hanging a little bit, don't you feel?
Well, in the first match, the women were coming in a little bit high in the right-hand lane. Now, as the lanes have transitioned, they're coming in lighter. You watch this ball, it's just sort of, it's laboring. It should be breaking now, and it's just coming in just that little bit late. She makes her spare, but, you know, you were talking about when the lanes get a little bit tricky, how Liz Johnson has really a noted advantage because she keeps the ball so direct that it almost doesn't matter what the lanes are like. She's going to be hitting the pocket.
We used to have a saying on the PBA Tour, and I guess it's still out there, as straight as great. And if you look at the championship round action over a period of 20 or 30 years, as you have seen it, basically you find out that the player who goes the straightest on television does win the most often. When we come
Christine will visit with 8-time PBA champion Chris Barnes. But first, here are some more U.S. Open champions.
Welcome back to the U.S. Women's Open. We're here in the VIP area. The score right now, Liz Johnson is ahead by 19 pins. Chris Barnes is with me, of course, PBA Tour star. More important right now, the husband and coach of Lynda. How's she doing?
Well, she's throwing the ball pretty good. This right lane's tricky. It was tricky for Carolyn. It hooks a little bit more in the front. It's tighter down lane. It's been a tougher combination, and Liz seems to have it figured out better than anyone so far. But she's going to make a move to the right and get firmer, too, and see if that solves the puzzle.
And of course, for those watching at home, there's oil. There are patterns on this lane, and they can do that as well. As a spokesman for bowling, talk about that.
Well, they're bowling the cheetah pattern this week, and that's the great thing about the PBA Experience Leagues is that anyone who joins the PBA Experience League can bowl in the very same pattern and see how they stack up against the best male and female bowlers in the world.
All right. Well, Chris, thank you very much. Good luck to Lynda, and back to the booth.
Thank you, Christine. And as you noted, it's a 19-pin lead for Liz Johnson. She's up in the 6th frame, double working, and she's been the only person so far that has been able to consistently conquer this right-hand lane.
You can see how Liz got here, defeating Shannon 226-193, and then Missy Belander.
I know you're involved in not only the bowling, but you're heading up to a great event, the Women's Sports Foundation dinner. It's coming up, isn't it?
And so is the winner of whoever wins today. The Women's Sports Foundation really has done more for women in sports than any other organization. It's founded by Billie Jean King, the great, and it's just a great honor to be in a room full of the best athletes in the entire world and being there representing bowling. It's just a very, very special event.
Well, congratulations, Deandra Asbady for bowling. That'll be at the Waldorf Astoria in New York. You'll love it.
Thank you.
Boy, and speaking of loving things, right now Liz Johnson's loving this cheetah pattern and takes a commanding lead after 7 frames, 39 pins. And you were right, Bo. Lynda Barnes has got to get it going on this right lane. The time is now.
This is the pair she bowled that 289 game on, so she knows she can strike.
She moved a little right, and she asked for it to sit, and she leaves the 4-9. The ball just a little bit left all the way down the lane.
Seems a little bit slow as well.
Yeah, maybe the speed a little low, a little slow. She's got a chance to make this. She'll have to slide the 4-pin into the 9, and boy, right now for any chance, she's got to do it.
Well, that's a chance she had to take on the first ball, though. She could not be fiddling around with more buckets and all that. Now she can slide. The odds of making this for Lynda are about 5-1.
And she did it.
What a great shot.
You know, it's hard coming off that commercial break and throwing the same shot that you just left on. It's easy to get a little slow.
Let's take a look at this great conversion. She does exactly what you said, Bo. Gets that 4-pin into the 9. 5-1. Looks like more like 2-1 for her.
1-1 at this point.
It's easy.
All right, let's see if that can be the impetus for her to get rolling here. She's been strike, spare, strike, spare, strike, spare. Needs to set up one here in the 8th frame. Keep some pressure on Liz Johnson.
Oh, 7-pin does not fall over. It's a good shot.
It's a great shot.
Take a look at the 5-pin. It's going to go over toward the 7, but just not enough energy to get to it.
Seen that shot a number of times, Marshall, today.
Lynda has been doing a lot of bowling lately, preparing for this final and also the World Cup in Russia next month. She's going to be representing all of us there, so good luck to her there.
You got to be excited about that. Russia?
Yeah, she's going to represent us well, I'm sure.
Take a look at Liz's cat stats. You can see that the position on the lane has been right around the 4 and 3 board on lane 25, a little bit deeper on 26.
Look at that ball speed.
And she leaves the 2 and the 10, maybe a little too much ball speed that time. And, you know, she's
Lynda a little bit of life. Faster speed, hit right of her target.
Well, that was part of your keys to victory for Liz Johnson, not to throw the ball through the break. That's the first time she's done it. Now, is she going to go for this split in this situation or keep the pin count out?
I think she goes for it.
Me too.
And she makes it. Look at these ladies shoot these splits, Bo.
Putting on a show here, putting on a show.
You know, Deandra, Liz said that the ladies are more accurate. Well, she's proving it. Bang.
Yeah, like she does it every day.
Well, that was sure an answer to that 4-9 and also making up for that 2-10 split, which is a common split today in bowling. It wasn't years ago because balls didn't hook as much. So let's see if she can really put the pressure on Lynda Barnes. Lynda Barnes has a possible 219. Liz Johnson going at a 237 pace.
Well, a strike here would all but wrap it up.
Perfect shot right there.
Yeah, that makes it almost impossible for Lynda Barnes.
Well, Deandra, we've had the luxury of having you up here in the announce booth for most of the commentary of it. Good luck in Russia. Good luck at the Women's Sports Foundation dinner, and thank you very much for joining us. I hope you do it again.
Thank you very much for having me. It was a pleasure.
All right, Lynda Barnes finishing out 9th frame.
She made a ball change, and very much like Carolyn Dorin Ballard, she's going, why didn't I throw this ball earlier? But her family still loves her.
Well, there's a lot to be learned, Marshall, in changing balls today. It isn't the old school of what you and I did, take one ball, bowl with it for a couple years.
And make it work.
And make it work. And it's really probably to get the big scores, you do need to make those ball changes. I'd like to see Lynda finish out real strong here, a respectable 219. She has to be proud of herself.
Well, just making it to the telecast for the finals is very important for all the women.
Maybe it was the right ball for that lane.
Well, you know, it's just how you play it, and we've seen it. We've said it before. Liz Johnson only has experience on this. Deandra said she has the best shot, and really it's the least amount of hook with the most speed without throwing it through the break, and that's carried her to victory here.
Absolutely. I think if Liz could pick a condition to bowl on, she'd want to bowl on this outside cheetah condition. And Barnes misses a spare. Really doesn't make it much difference right now. What a great sport. Johnson just finishing up right now. Johnson wants to make sure she makes a good shot on this lane. She left a 210 last time. She needs to prepare herself physically and mentally for the championship game against Shannon O'Keefe.
Possible 257. That locks it right there. All right. Johnson's the winner. Coming up after this break, Christine will chat with the winner of match number 2, Liz Johnson. But first, a look at the past 3 U.S. Open champions.
All right, back here after the second semifinal. Liz Johnson, 257, 187 for Lynda Barnes. A huge victory, Liz. Congratulations.
Much, Liz.
And, you know, we talked earlier before your match about the fact that you have no fear. Is that true?
I always have fear, but, you know, I came in today, I think my focus was really, really good. I made the right ball choices, and, you know, from just focus at the pins, you know, I felt like I was the only one there, and just taking one shot at a time.
And now you get to face one of your very best friends, roommate here from the qualifying, right, Shannon O'Keefe. What's that like?
Yeah, we said earlier in the week it would be a great final to have the two of us. So I'm really glad it's Shannon and I.
All right. Well, thank you. Congratulations. Good luck in the final. We'll see you then. Back to you.
2007 U.S. Women's Open, a USBC event, is being brought to you by the National Bowling Stadium, home of the 2007 Storm National Mixed Championships, October 4th through November 11th. By Reno's most award-winning hotel, the El Dorado Hotel Casino. What are you waiting for? By Banquet. And by the United States Bowling Congress. Visit bowl.com for the most complete information about the sport of bowling.
Well, welcome back, everyone. We are at the National Open 2007 version. Kevin Dornberg, the president of the USBC, the executive director of the USBC. And a quick recap, Marshall, is match one, O'Keefe 223 over Ballard. Liz Johnson 257, just overwhelmed Lynda Barnes. And, you know, anybody can win has been the moniker of the tournament, and it looks that way so far.
Well, you're absolutely right, but I like the way that Liz Johnson looks right now. She's just coming off the lane. She's got a fresher look by being in the final match, and then coming into the title game against O'Keefe. You know, she shoots 257. She's pumped up. She's ready.
And she really wasn't pressured, so she's right. She is freewheeling. We'll see what happens. USBC, she has done it all. Team USA, which represents the United States, been the amateur champion, won the Open, and going for her second U.S. Open title. First shot, left-hand lane, title game.
If she can pull the ball a little bit and it holds pocket, that ball looked like it'd be just a little bit left off her hand, but it held the pocket all the way down. Now, O'Keefe did shoot 299 the last time she bowled for the championship of the quarterfinals, but this right-hand lane is not the same right-hand lane she bowled on.
She's a courageous player, Marshall. We know it. She picks it up. She'll bowl one frame at a time. She'll go with a whip right out of the chute here.
Ball coming in just a bit high on lane 26.
It's been the story of the day, Marshall. Only one person has been able to conquer the right-hand lane, and that is, she's the lady in the final match here, Liz Johnson. Shannon O'Keefe got a good break, had the 4-7-10 standing, comes up with a relatively easy spare.
Picks up the 4-7 with the straight spare ball.
O'Keefe, her husband, looks on, accomplished bowler.
Take a look at Shannon O'Keefe's form. 5-step delivery, gets the ball started in the 3rd step. Very smooth, high backswing. You can see the backswing very high. Good knee bend, and a great follow through.
And still fighting to keep it from going high on that right-hand lane.
Come on, 7-pin, not gonna help it. Boy, we saw a lot of solid 7-10s in the practice. Watch the 5-pin. It's going to be knocked over, but not hard enough to get into the 7. You leave the flat 10. You've got a pocket 7-10.
You know, that's the modern game, synthetic lanes, and it happens more often. Very seldom saw that on wood lanes, but today I think the adjustment for that, Marshall, has got to be what Liz Johnson's doing. You got to move farther to the right and get a little more zip on the ball.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, Johnson with a chance to jump on Shannon O'Keefe with an early, commanding 23-pin lead. Second frame, the only woman to be consistent on lane 26 here in the 78-lane National Bowling Stadium.
Well, I tell you, her shot's so good right now, it's almost scary. We'll take a look at Liz Johnson. What a great classic form she has. She's a 4-step delivery, the only lady that takes just 4 steps. Ball in the 2nd step. You can see the backswing, little past shoulder high. Watch how she really gets the ball way out of the lane. Just really projects it far down the lane, and it makes the ball hold the pocket longer. What I mean by hold the pocket is not break as sharp as soon. 20.5 mile per hour. She throws the ball hard. I'm telling you, she's got what it takes for this particular condition and many others. And she's not getting too excited too early. She knows it's a 10-frame game. You know, I know that I made the mistake in my career where I'd get off to a good lead and I'd get so excited that after 5 frames I had no energy left to finish the game.
Well, she said a good thing in her interview with Christine Brennan. She says, I'm only one here in the building. When you have that feeling, you don't get too excited. All right, let's see if O'Keefe, our tournament leader, can bounce back.
Looks good going down the lane. All right, shakes him up a bit.
Well, she's going with the saw ball, Marshall. You have to go with what you do best, especially when you only have 7 frames left for the U.S. Open title. She just went and just tucked that swing inside out, just ripped those finger holes out, and she's going to make those pins dance. She's not going to try to be precision in the hole.
And you can see that she lays the ball down further left than does Liz Johnson.
25. And you know, when you're having problems with one lane, you're trying to make adjustments on it. It makes your good lane kind of bad.
I agree. It's what we typically call over and under. When she misses right, it hits the dry and gets too much friction. If she misses left, it doesn't flip back. And once again, she shoots that 3-6-10 down the right side, Marshall. There's always a suspect of a chop shot here. Perfect. You know, a lot of the players in the 132-man field woman field, I should say, had a chance to join in the women's series. This means the top 16 players are going to get to bowl with the men 4 out of the first 5 weeks on the men's PBA tour. They'll have their separate tournament, and there are our 16 women, our alternate is Rob and Romeo. I think it'd be a great addition to the PBA. I'm anxious to see it, Marshall.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Speaking of fun, Liz Johnson's having fun.
The brainchild of this whole U.S. Open concept, USBC Vice President of Marketing and Communication, a brilliant young man who came over from USA newspaper, has really put this USBC on the map and has got a great program here. He should be very proud. Now, Liz Johnson, 5th frame, commanding 43-pin lead, perfect through 4.
Wow. Boy, I tell you, when you've got that kind of talent, Mom, this is the first time that Liz's mother's had a chance to watch her bowl live on national television, and she is having lots of fun.
And Liz also mentioned that her grandfather's in the hospital and wishes him the best also. So Shannon O'Keefe in a must situation early, Marsh.
Oh, absolutely. It's, Johnson with 5 in a row and O'Keefe with an open already. Now she's figured out this right-hand lane. She's got to get back on what was perceived to be her easier of the 2 lanes, lane 25.
I like her game face. You see the look she gave Johnson on the way back? She knows this is for all the week. You can be friends off the lane, and you being a great competitor, had it as well as anybody, you got to be tough on the lane. This is your business. This is a chance of a lifetime.
Well, Johnson right now working at a 239 pace. Shannon O'Keefe can strike out for 247. But she's got to start now. Whoa! All right, she's not giving up.
Yeah, that Marshall Holman on that. All the great players I always felt in bowling, and even the old-timers, it's the rotation of the wrist. Whether you hook it big time like Shannon O'Keefe or you come up through it, you still have to rotate the wrist. It's almost a misnomer that you want to pull your fingers in. The fingers support the ball. The wrist gives it its power.
It's that kick with the wrist. You're absolutely right. Oh, stone 7. Just a bit high in the pocket. But that hit carries 99% of the time.
Head pin drives into the 2 and actually interferes with the 4-pin coming off the sideboard. Watch the 2nd pin to the left side part of your part of the lane. The 2 come off and took the 4 out. Got to be happy with that shot, though.
You could see Shannon sort of giving her a look like, thank you.
Shannon O'Keefe's got a lot of moxie in her. She's not giving up. She says, well, I got a little break here. What's at stake for these women other than winning the greatest title in women's sports of bowling? First place, $25,000, a $10,000 difference. Our 3rd and 4th players will split $10,000 apiece, and the other finishers in the top 16, there is their prize money. As Liz Johnson still has a somewhat commanding lead of 42 pins, but Marshall, anything can happen in the last 4 frames of a major.
Well, yeah, and she just coming off a very, very bad break. She's got to put that behind her. Been making nothing but great shots on 25. She asked for it to put that ball actually a little bit higher than the last time on 26, but it carries the 4-7 late.
This week's matchup on Monday Night Football features Eli Manning, Plaxico Burress, and the New York Giants facing Ward Dunn and the Atlanta Falcons. Monday Night Football on ESPN begins at 8:30 p.m. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Eastern with Monday Night Countdown.
Shannon O'Keefe now with 3 strikes in a row and making her presence known a little more with each one of those strikes. Watch the boy, she really snapped around that ball hard. Ball's on about the 4-board
right now, driving back, hits the head pin into the sideboard, 5-pin goes flying.
She's back in the match. Could cut the lead down to just 22. Once you get down into the 20s, Marshall, anything can happen. 3 frames left.
Oh, solid 10. She did her job.
Yes, she did. Boy, she had such focus on her target. I watched her eyes up there on a critical shot as her husband Brian looks on, obviously disappointed. Must make this fair. It's not over. But that was a tough break.
Hang on. Don't have to hit very hard.
Well, Liz Johnson, as we say, gauntlet in hand.
Yeah, in the last 2 frames, both on 26 and 25, her ball was creeping in just a little bit high. I look for Liz Johnson to throw this ball even harder.
Good call, Marsh. The computer-aided tracking system used on today's telecast is provided to us by the Kegel Corporation, the premier coaching facility in the world.
And our CAT system did show that Liz Johnson amped up the speed a little bit more on lane 26. In fact, it was the hardest she'd thrown the ball the entire day. Let's see that ball kind of bounce a little bit as she released it.
Lost it off her hand, didn't get that wrist action you were talking about, and leaves the soft for week 10. And that's a question I'm sure that you've fielded many times from amateurs. What leaves the 10-pin? Where's the difference between the one Shannon left, which is a wrap, and watch the 6-pin just kind of be uncooperative in the right-hand channel, and that's just because he didn't get enough power on it.
Yep. But she knows right now she has plenty. She's going to win this tournament. She's going to be going to New York later this afternoon for that wonderful dinner in Lady Sports Foundation.
And our colleague Christine Brennan will also be traveling there. Shannon O'Keefe has done herself well. This is a name that will be resounding in the bowling world for years to come.
Boy, lots of good shots, but when you have to send the ball to the right and then bring it back, it makes it more problematic as far as carrying, especially for some reason during telecast, as you said earlier, straighter is kind of greater.
Well, all good players like a little pull area. Most misses by anybody in almost any sport is to pull it left the target or inside your target, right? For right-handers, for left-handers to pull it to the right. So it is a slight edge, and yet when you're freewheeling in a tournament, the bigger strike ball, like Shannon, can, when you're relaxed, can out-carry your other opponents. All right, Shannon can finish with a nice 200 game here coming up in the 10th frame.
And she gets the friendly roll of the 4-pin in the 10th frame, and she's got a beautiful game and a beautiful smile, and really a wonderful future ahead in the sport.
No doubt. And if you haven't seen these women bowlers today that are coming through, as Christine Brennan mentioned, through Title IX, they are terrific, terrific bowlers. In fact, I have Shannon coming with me to bowl a Hospice Society charity fundraiser in New England in April, and I'm sure the people will just be absolutely ecstatic with her performance.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. That's one proud Liz Johnson right now. She knew what she had to do, what was in front of her, and well, she's really taken it to the max.
Possible 215 for Shannon O'Keefe has definitely bowled as well as anybody in the world. Just didn't happen for her today.
That's a good finish, and great sportsmanship between all these ladies.
Liz Johnson will be a multiple champion as these other people. Of course, Marion Ladowig, the great Marion Ladowig, has dominated it, and she will be a 2-time titleist. She has to be proud. Great accomplishment. Liz has a potential 258, Marshall 257 in the semifinal. That'd have been hard to beat for anybody.
Oh, you can
only take what the shot gives you and then take it to the max, and that's exactly what she's done.
Well, she only had one ball out of the pocket in 2 games. That was that 2-10 split. Made a terrific shot on that. A spare here. She quickly finishes up. She'll have a 248-215 victory. Just a tremendous performance. Look at the smile on her face. There's the winner, Liz Johnson.
And a big hug from Mom. What a treat for her mother to be able to watch her daughter kick off the biggest tournament in ladies bowling.
We'll be back after a short break to talk to our new U.S. Open champion, Liz Johnson, her second U.S. Open title.
Welcome back to the U.S. Women's Open, wherein we have crowned a champion. Liz Johnson, a 248-215 victory over her dear friend Shannon O'Keefe. Dominating performance. A few moments ago, Liz received the trophy and the check from Jeff Bourget, President, U.S. Bowling Associate Congress, and Roseanne Kuhn. That was Liz with the trophy and the check. And now we have Liz here with us today. First of all, congratulations. How hard was it to keep that performance going from the semifinals to the finals?
I just kept my focus, try to keep my focus the second match. I knew the first match I had a good shot, and I just want to continue with that and just try to make 10 good shots.
How important was it following up on the 1996 U.S. Open that you won to follow up and win this one as well?
Yeah, this was pretty special. I've made a couple shows in between since the 96 U.S. Open, and to be able to come back after a 2-month break and just to continue, it was tough to keep the focus on that, but it was an amazing day for me today.
As you know, of course, the Women's Open had stopped after the 2003 season. Based on what you've seen in the performances, and do you feel that it's time for this to come back on a permanent basis?
Oh yeah, definitely. I just got back from Panama bowling a tournament, and there's so many good young bowlers getting in still in college, just getting out of college, and we definitely need more majors and another women's tour back.
All right, Liz, well, congratulations again, U.S. Open champion. And it is fitting, isn't it, that it is Liz Johnson who said she had no fear and clearly showed that in these 2 performances here today. The fact that she is able to win this U.S. Open, her second championship, proving again the clutch performance of athletes under pressure. It's been a delight to watch, and now I send it back to my colleague, Marshall.
Well, thank you very much, Christine. I'll tell you, Bo, what a fantastic finish. And Liz Johnson, she had the best look, and she took it all the way to the bank.
Well, we picked it out. She bowled well in all the qualifying. She took it right there. She was so focused. When she said, and the key thing was that she didn't know anybody else was in the building. You've been in that zone. We've heard of other athletes being in that zone. And she proved it. She never let anything get away. She had one shot that was a little errant, made the split, and she is the new champion.
Well, it was a lot of fun to watch. Great working with you. Great working with Christine.
Thank you, Marshall, and Christine. It's been great. 16 of the top women bowlers in the world began this championship 4 weeks ago, and each knew that only one could win. For some, it was a chance to bring back the glory that once was. For others, a chance to shine on a new stage. But in the end, it was Liz Johnson who proved to the world that women's bowling is back better than ever. Be sure to stay with ESPN next Sunday as bowling continues as the PBA's best compete in the 2007 Japan Cup, Sunday, October 21st at 1 p.m. Eastern. For Marcia Holman and Christine Brennan, this is Bo Burton saying so long from the biggest little city in the world, Reno, Nevada. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Congratulations once again to Liz Johnson, the 2007 U.S. Open champion. Final score, 257-215 over Shannon